All right, here we are. TigerBait's post-game show. LSU defeats Arkansas 27-24. We're going to let some of you guys get in here. Obviously, a huge pivotal win for LSU. I'm one of the guys that I thought LSU was heading for a double-digit loss. Then we found out earlier today that Arkansas was with missing a half a dozen defensive linemen. And certainly that changed things. LSU got the much-needed running game. Tyrion Davis-Price with over 100 yards rushing. Absolutely pivotal. TJ Finley, what more can you say about him and the performance he had? That's exactly, I think, probably the what you expect from ideally from a true freshman quarterback, that type of game. He's going to need a running game to help him, and he got it. No big mistakes. Defense obviously struggled, giving up big plays. Elias Ricks ejected from the game with a targeting call. And Derek Stingley out with a knee to the head. And so then you had Jay Ward, Cordell Flott, and others back there trying to make it go and gave up big plays to Felipe Franks and the Arkansas passing game. But like I said, a much-needed win, and I'm going to let you take it. And I'm going to, of course, by the way, we're presented by Kenneth P. Haynes. And always excited to have Kenneth P. Haynes, attorney at law in Shreveport, is a part of our team and sponsoring us each week in our post-game show. And we're going to talk about him a little bit more later in the show. So I'm going to let Preston take it from here. I'm going to get some of these links out, and because I think there's a lot of people that want to talk about this one today.
Yeah, I mean, so the first thing you got to acknowledge today with this win is if you didn't get the win today, when are you going to get a win the rest of this year? Let me tell you something. 2 and 8 or 7 or even 6, whatever we're talking about, you make up whatever excuse you want, and that's going to look real bad. LSU legitimately has a chance to fight for a winning season now. That's a big deal. And it's probably still not likely. They probably would need some help, like maybe one of these postponed games just doesn't happen. They get a win over Ole Miss, which we don't even know if that'll happen because SEC office may look at it, well, Ole Miss is not a contender, but Alabama is. You need to play Alabama. So, you got to look at it and say, thank God you got to win today. Because you already screwed up a couple of your winnable games with Mississippi State. You just kind of screwed up there down the stretch. And Missouri. The hard reality was you were sitting at 2 and 3, and you really hadn't gotten into the thick of your schedule. Arkansas trending up. There are 4 games left to play for this LSU team, and we'll see if they actually play all 4. Alabama's not even scheduled yet. 3 of them are in the top 6. Yo. And you were 2 and 3 coming into that. If you didn't get the dub today, this might have been a rough stretch.
Well, I went to today's game thinking that I thought all week LSU was not going to win another football game the rest of the year. And I saw your score prediction, which was similar to mine. I had Arkansas winning this one by double digits. I just did not.
That's right.
I didn't like what we saw the last time. Of course, it's been many weeks since we saw LSU play last. I didn't like the start of the week with the USA Today stuff and not knowing how this team would respond and the coaching staff. Did they insulate themselves? And it's probably a good chance that they are adopting an us against the world mentality. Everybody's, saying they're no good and what a disaster everything it is on and off the field in the program. But this was pivotal. So now you're thinking, okay, can they get that game with Ole Miss?
Right.
Tall order. A&M's got designs on getting their way into the playoffs. Via a back door. Florida's playing very well. And what can you say about Alabama? When we came in here to go live, they were, up big on Kentucky. So, so let's. I'll tell you what I want to do. You go ahead and I want to plug in some of our replies here.
Oh yeah, go for it. I'm gonna just talk about the box score here, y'all, because this is a very interesting box score. In a lot of ways, it's strange. It's strange that it was close for Arkansas. And on the same hand, it's also very strange that LSU won it all. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I mean by that. You look at total yards, Arkansas outgained LSU 443 to 419, okay? And then you compound that with, the fact that average yards per play, LSU 4.6, Arkansas 8.4. It really shouldn't have been a close game. Then you look at the sense of, LSU had time of possession 41-43 to 18-17. That's like 3 times as much. I mean, that is unheard of.
If you pull the big plays out of Arkansas, though, what was their
so fun you mentioned.
What was their third down conversion? I mean, it was absolutely putrid.
Oh, third down was pretty rough.
They were getting it done on first down when they had their big plays.
They were, tell me if this sounds familiar, 0 for 10 on third down. Kind of like LSU against Missouri. I actually did a stat breakdown on our postgame story of Felipe Franks. If you take away, so he had 4 throws that were just, I don't even want to say they're good throws. They're just to open guys downfield. There are no DBs on this team, or really players on this team, who have ball skills other than Derek Stingley Jr. and Elias Ricks. That's it. I mean, everybody else.
What did you think on Elias Ricks' targeting call?
So targeting is one of those things that they really have never gotten consistent at all. Like, what is targeting?
I was okay with his, and I think if there was any chance of them reviewing it on Monday and reinstating him, the fact that he taunted after it,
that probably,
I think the Arkansas kid's going to get reinstated.
In fact, when he did the hit, I didn't see a flag until after he was done with the flex. I'm sure they're going to get in his head about that because he celebrated on the pick 6 too. Ogeron, I think he's just an emotional player.
Yeah.
And you want some guys with emotion because let's be honest.
A lot of your really good DBs are that way. I think that you just have to be. But yeah, he was going to get a 15-yard penalty for the taunting.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah, I think that the targeting, that little taunt definitely brought it out to the light. I think he probably still would have gotten it. I think it probably is targeting. I'm going to say this, on the back end, what was the guy's name? Costello or whatever for Arkansas? Catalan? I didn't think that was targeting.
No, Catalan's wasn't, and I think he should be reinstated when the SEC reviews that on Monday.
I agree. I thought a lot of people were saying, well, he led with the shoulder. I was like, dude, his hip was at the bottom of the guy's face mask.
I didn't agree with that one at all.
Get out of here. You got to play football eventually. Now, the one call everybody should be furious with, that Tyrion Davis-Price.
Well, he didn't get up and sell it.
Yeah, he didn't.
He made 2 steps.
But at the same time, you reviewed it and you still say that's a drop?
Yeah, that was awful. I don't know who's...
SEC refs, man.
Mark Towery beat Ole Miss and A&M and don't play Bama, and 5-4 is possible. That would be a miraculous finish considering we lost to 2 bottom feeders in Mississippi State and Missouri. Offensive line still needs to improve, no doubt, Mark. Offensive line is horrible. Playing against a greatly depleted defensive line, yet they still only average 3 yards a carry. The offensive line is in bad shape, and a lot of people excited about Rosenthal. I think you all know why he was suspended. It's like, okay, how much more of that are they going to put up with? If you're not going to be a guy that knows what you need to do, I don't know why anybody is. Yeah, you want somebody that's capable, but there's a reason why he was suspended, and he keeps doing it. When you're suspended that many games, you know why. And we still don't know going forward whether Thomas Perry or Cardell Thomas or Bradford, those 3 from that class, are going to give you much of anything. And so this class has to finish strong, has to have Tristan Lee in it, Savion Byrd, to go along with Garrett Dellinger. That offensive and defensive linemen absolutely have to be on point. And it gets you to the whole scenario where you're like, things are so bad on the offensive line, you're wanting guys that are constantly getting indefinitely suspended for the reason why. And, a guy who's, I don't know, what would you see, mediocre to average in Shanahan, you're hoping he comes back.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough there. In fact, I got a cool YouTube comment we got here from Cameron Rogers. Who wins if Arkansas is at full strength? I feel like we should have won by 30 considering their D-line was out. So I hear you. My response to that is going to be, what if for LSU? I mean, what if Jamar Chase is out there catching balls? What if Tyler Shelvin, is playing out
Kerry
there?
Vincent.
Yeah, Kerry Vincent. Oh, man, that might have been
Nobody even talks
costly.
about Kerry Vincent.
No one, but you know how do you know what the drop-off is after Ricks now? I mean, can we just talk about that? Those two have been
Yeah, but
absolute
it's
ballers.
like, everybody's like, been ripping on Jay Ward. I don't know if that field goal was on its way if he hadn't touched it.
No, it looked like it was on its way.
But
it's tie ball game.
and then you're going to overtime on the road.
And he made the third down stop just before that.
Right.
So good little redemption for him. But that being said, so you look at what Felipe Franks did today. I'm going to pull this up. So on 4 throws, he had 216 yards and a touchdown. Okay? 216 yards. That's 50, 50, 51, and 65. Okay? You take those out, and he has a very pedestrian day. He goes 13 of 22, 123 yards, and an interception. That's his day. That's outstanding defense. In fact, that's what you kind of would expect with a normal LSU defense out there. The problem is just a handful of just absolutely destroyed plays. This defense has got to get some consistency going. It's like 90% of the time they're out there, they're okay. And then boom, one giant play and they're just dragged down the field.
Yeah, let's get some more comments here.
Yeah.
Chris Vanessa Mesh Domain, hello. Very happy to get a win. Cameron Rogers, Bo Pelini is still awful. Greg Price, how does Max Johnson not get any time in this game? I didn't. At no point in this game did I think Max Johnson should have been inserted in the game. Did you?
I actually had a point where I said, look, this is the last drive. Okay. If you look at it, it was somewhere in the second quarter where I was looking at it as like the first quarter ended. And TJ Finley in the last 2 games hadn't scored a touchdown. The only touchdown they had scored at that point was in garbage time with Max Johnson. I said, if they don't get a touchdown here, I think you have to look at Max Johnson.
Hughes Bowden says Mike Ricks was in the first half. He won't miss. No, you have to miss a half.
Well, Ricks was in the first half.
Right, but he also has to miss a half.
Yeah, he missed the second half, though. So he's good. He'll be back next week.
Okay, so he didn't have to miss a half the following week.
No, he's good. He'll be back next week.
Okay.
So that's huge. That's massive. Now,
okay.
Coach O in the postgame
I
conference.
always misconstrued that rule.
He had no information on Derek Stingley Jr. postgame. But to me, TJ Finley scored a touchdown there in the second quarter drive, and then you have to go with him because he's got the hot hand. I think if he had not scored there, I think you would have seen Max Johnson get his first meaningful reps of the year. But being that he did get that score and came away at the W, I think he did good. Here's the downside on TJ Finley today. 270 yards, 2 touchdowns. Good, right? On 42 pass attempts, though. He threw the ball 42 times. And you kind of look at that and you say, well, to throw the ball 42 times and only get 271 yards, it's kind of not so great.
A lot
on
of dinks
paper.
and dunks.
But, I mean, overall, did you really see anything that bad?
I was fine with his performance.
I mean, we're talking about a true freshman.
No.
We're being very critical.
If that's the way to me, the South Carolina game was an anomaly. I think today's game is probably the most that you actually should expect from a true freshman.
Yes, I think so.
And I had no issues with Finley today. Steven Stokes, a win in the SEC feels a lot better than a loss. No doubt I saw players that played hard and cared today. Good win. Trending up, keep improving. Absolutely. And I want to talk about Kenneth P. Haynes, attorney at law, who sponsors us. And while I do that, will y'all also do me a favor and hit the like button on this video? Please share it to your Facebook timeline. And if you're watching us on YouTube or on Twitter, please retweet or hit the like button. Tonight's show is, of course, brought to us by our friend Kenneth P. Haynes at the Weems, Shemp, Haynes, Shermwell, and More law firm, a full-service Shreveport law firm. Kenny is the only lawyer in the state practicing outside of New Orleans that is board certified in appellate practice in family law. He's been board certified in family law since 2004. He's been board certified in appellate practice since the inception of the specialty in 2017. Has 30 years of experience representing individuals with their litigation needs, family, personal injury, commercial litigation. He's a founding member of TigerBait.com, one of our absolute best message board posters. His handle on TigerBait is Tiger Shark, and absolutely one of our most knowledgeable LSU football fans. Kenny's firm has been has successfully cared for people's legal needs since 1983. And he's an LSU law graduate, class of 1989. Give them a call, 318-222-2100. if you're in North Louisiana, Alexandria, the entire northern part of Louisiana, give him a call if you need any of those things handled, divorce, personal injury, etc. They've got you covered. Commercial law, the whole works. And Kenneth P. Haynes, he's our guy.
Awesome, and awesome fanalist in our show every single week. Appreciate him. I'm looking for one of his comments. I hadn't seen him yet, but I bet you he's not far away.
I see him. He just showed up.
There he is. Boy, we are in trouble on the back end of this defense. Flott is still getting torched. Number 5 was exposed too. After Stingley and Ricks, we cannot cover. Safety may be our weakest position. I think everything he said there is right because, I mean, the depth on this defensive backfield is just so bad. And it's really funny because you got 2 guys who are just outstanding players, Elias Ricks and Stingley, and the rest of them are so bad in coverage that it doesn't even matter. Like, yeah, you covered 2 guys, great. There's 2 more wide open. I mean, it's just at a certain point you get sick and tired of seeing a safety 3 yards behind a receiver in the slot running a seam downfield, and there's no safety coverage over the top. I've never seen a year with so many ineffective blitzes. Just every single time I see a blitz, it's like, hey, look, they're half an inch away from actually doing something. Meanwhile, someone's wide open downfield and giant chunk. I've said this all year. You'd be better off to just call cover 3, cover 4, stop blitzing guys because they're not doing anything on your blitzes. Hopefully your defensive line does something. And get some safety help over the top. Your safeties can't cover man, period. End of discussion.
I tell you what, I think Andre Anthony played a very good game.
Yes.
Ali Gay had some very good plays. Of course, Jabril Cox with the big interception, taking it down to the 1-yard line. That was fantastic. But the DBs and the whole DBU thing, look, I think there's some talent there, obviously with Stingley. But I guess this might be a year where you're saying DBU is taking a year off. If we're just going on production and how well they play as a group, notwithstanding NFL draft potential. So, yeah.
Daniel, I'm a Sauque, I think that's how we say that, Sahuque. I thought the game plan was to hold on to the ball as much as possible and avoid our defense from being on the field long at all. That was the game plan.
It was.
And look, for what you have on this team is the best game plan because you got a true freshman quarterback. You got an offensive line that's struggling mightily. So, yeah, they were trying to do a bunch of dink and dunk passes. They were trying to get some tough runs on the outside with Tyrion Davis-Price. They're trying to do whatever they can to help this defense out because the fact of the matter is this defense was on the field for 18 minutes and gave up 24 points. I mean, it is a bad defense, and they're doing what they can to hide it. I don't think they have good play calls. I don't think they really have a roster of – I don't think they have 11 good players. I think they're struggling a lot to be decent.
And I say it every week, and they rip on Pelini, and it's like, look, I get it. There's some things you want them to do better. You didn't like the, smiling and stuff that was going on at the end of the Auburn game. But if you go position by position – and you say which of these guys that are starters for LSU, I'm not going to stand up on the table and fight for them to be a first, second, or third team All-SEC postseason possibility. Who's it going to be?
Defense or backfield included or front 7?
Front 7.
I mean, no one. No one. I mean, you got Stingley and Ricks. I'm not really kidding when I say this defense has Stingley and Ricks.
Jabril Cox has all the tackles.
Jabril Cox could probably be third team All-SEC maybe, but, I mean, even he's had some moments.
But when you're saying that there's not a defensive lineman that you would argue for first or second team.
No.
And there's no offensive lineman either.
No. And I just want to say it was a little funny in the pregame to hear one of the announcers, which the announcers took a beating today, talking about Dare Rosenthal was one of the best offensive tackles in the country.
What would you say that team is? How many SEC play-by-play in color crews do they have? Is there one lower
On SEC Network?
No, is there one lower than this group though that gets?
I hope not.
No, I mean, if you get the 11 a.m. game on the SEC Network, you're not getting.
No, you're getting chump time. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
and you also got the poor referee, the poor officiating crew as well.
yeah, I mean, this was pretty much bottom of the barrel crew here today, and I think it's a little bit of a surprise for LSU for so long. I mean, it has been, man, it has been more than 2 years since LSU's had like an SEC game like this where they had a bottom of the barrel group like that because they've been so good for so long. Because you open up 2018 against top 10 Miami, and from that you won that game. From that point on, LSU was 25-3 following that. They got good announcers for almost 30 straight games, y'all. And I think maybe it was a little bit of eye opener today getting the not A team. Maybe CBS broadcasters aren't that bad, but you know what? I think a lot of it was just lack of research, a little bit of confusion on air maybe. Like when you say Dare Rosenthal is one of the best players in the country, he might be one day. He's plenty serviceable, but I mean, he's not one of the best offensive tackles right now in the country for sure.
Trenton Eubanks, Stevens is a great defensive player, but he simply does not have the speed and twitch to play safety. No, he's a linebacker, at least in downfield coverage. To me, he's got to play a linebacker at the next level.
You know, I was literally about to say that. I was hinting on that in my midweek show this week. Why isn't Jacoby Stevens playing outside linebacker?
Man, Kenneth P. Haynes wants Stinchcomb fired.
Ooh.
He was atrocious, biased wrong, and should be fired.
Ooh, man. Well, the officiating was bad today. Let's make no mistake about that. But, I think targeting is just one of those kind of really up in the air. I think, if anything, that one guy for Arkansas is the one who has the biggest complaint because he should not have been ejected. But then, old boy Tyrion Davis-Price, that incompletion was just the worst call. I want to talk about, what's his name, number 7, not Stevens. Yeah, why is he not playing outside linebacker? I looked up on the first play of the game, it stuck out to me. This defense doesn't have closing speed anymore. Those outside linebackers, they do not have the speed to just hunt people down. Micah Bakersfield, solid player, of course, but he is not like a Patrick Queen on the edge.
And I thought Todd Harris, look, he's coming off injury. I don't know if where he needs to be coming off of the knee surgery. Does he still, he's not where he was pre-injury. I know that.
Yeah. No, he looks like a half step slower than he was before. And Mo Hampton, man. It's like Mo Hampton came on so strong at the end of last year, but it's like now he's just, instead of being one guy out there in a sea of good players where they can, kind of hide him, he has to get into this role where he's just out of place all the time. I really do think the safeties are playing exponentially way too much man coverage. I really think Bo Pelini has one thing that he does, and he tries to do it very well. And if that doesn't work, he does it again and again and again. And that's what he is. There's not every defensive coach is like Aranda where they can play chess and adapt and do things differently. I think that's a huge problem. There's no reason these safeties need to be in man coverage as much as they are. It's embarrassing.
Daniel Sahuke, and Daniel, forgive me. Phonetically type it out for me so we get it right. Cox covers better than Stevens.
I mean, look, you can say that all you want.
I tell you what, Cox got up for that ball.
Boy, did he.
I mean, that shows.
But that was zone coverage. That was a zone in the middle of the
But I
field.
also think, he's just, his height made Franks think he could get away with that.
Yeah, well, and Franks is not good at putting some air on it. He tends to line it, and those middle zone coverages can be very dangerous for these quarterbacks who like to zip it in there because that linebacker's out of your sight. But you got to understand, they can get up. They can get vertical. So, look, regardless, if your name is not Stingley or Ricks, you're not up to SEC par on coverage on this defense. That's just the hard fact.
Well, and that's why LSU's going big with safeties and offered Jordan Gilbert from U-High last week. And, you have 4, possibly 5 safeties in this class. We'll see what happens with Kari G. And there's talk of maybe him being a linebacker. And there's going to be some movement in recruiting here in the coming weeks. So pay attention to TigerBait.com on that. We got a lot coming. In fact, I got some good stuff dropped in my lap today that I'm going to have on the site tomorrow. So y'all going to want to check out TigerBait.com. As always, go to TigerBait, try us out for $1, get you on the site for a week. And gift cards. It's Christmas is here. Don't worry about going to Black Friday and all that next week. Give a gift card of TigerBait.com. If you go to the top of TigerBait, hit more under gift cards. We did a bunch of them last year, and I know a lot of people are getting them again. You'll buy an annual gift card for $99. Give it to the LSU fan in your life. Give it to yourself. Either way, you'll get a lot of enjoyment from TigerBait.com. You get our newsletters, our text alerts, all our premium content, our recruiting video, our Tiger Den premium message board, and all that at TigerBait.com. So don't worry about, of course, I think everybody's buying online anyway. So I think that's a great Christmas gift.
I promise you're not going to get more. I mean, it's a full year for $100 basically. You're not going to get more enjoyment if you're a Tiger fan.
Yeah.
Or someone else is a Tiger fan that you won't buy it for. It's an awesome gift in my opinion. Hey, we have an update on the phonetic pronunciation.
Yeah, there you go.
It is Sayuke. Man, I'm going to be honest.
I like it.
That would have been like not even in my top 5 guesses. Great stuff. But he's got a great comment here. Stevens needs to be in that Chad Jones 2007 role, play close to the line of scrimmage and on blitz and third. I think they're doing that with him. I think he's in that role right now. He's just not very good at it because Chad Jones was much better in coverage than Jacoby Stevens. I think we are in he just needs to full out change his position. I mean, he needs to play outside linebacker, and I think that would do huge dividends.
There's a reason why Pelini, I guarantee you, Pelini's looked at him in several different ways, and there's got to be a reason why they're putting him there. And
yeah, exactly. So I wanted to just go ahead and take a moment to thank our secondary sponsor of tonight's show, Jordan Spector of Spector Sports Art. He, of course, made this viral painting, which thousands of LSU fans have gotten their hands on. This is Burrow. Okay. Now, this season might be a little more forgettable, but this moment will live on forever. I'm trying to see if I catch this, if this is too tall or not. I might lean it back.
I'm going to hold it right there.
Yeah. So anyways, you can get this. I'm commenting right now. Get the Burrow bundle. You can get this one, which was, he came right after National Championship, and his new painting, Perfection, which captivates the moment. They're on stage at the National Championship. You got all the fun moments throughout the season. You got Coach O, got Burrow. You can get both of these for a discounted price right now. You can get them flexible sizes.
You can see in this little white area, I think on the back side where there was $100 bills.
Yeah, Odell Beckham's actually hiding back there somewhere.
Yeah.
You got the goat towel going on. The details on these are real cool. It's art with energy, okay? A portion of the proceeds will go to charities, including Joe Burrow's charity and Dreams Come True, Louisiana. So it's good stuff. One of the coolest Christmas presents you can get for someone, and you can get 2 of them for one discounted price. I just commented the link. Y'all go check it out. If you're not going to give them the TigerBait gift card, at least show up with one of these guys. So appreciate that. Appreciate Jordan for sponsoring tonight's show and my weekly show. Hopefully we'll have more of his stuff to come. Let's see here. You got any comments over there you want to get to?
Yeah, let's see here.
I'm checking YouTube.
Yeah, Gregory Price said our kickers are doing very well. And
that's true.
No doubt. York and
special teams.
Yeah, I mean it's.
How good is Zach Von Rosenberg?
Yeah.
Oh man, he's so good.
I don't even think he's hesitating about taking another year. I think he's all for it. I think he's enjoying it.
I think he's living life. I mean, he made decent money as a minor league pitcher, so he's got money and he's in college. I think that there's a certain allure to being around college campus for a while when you already have money. I think a lot of guys desperate to go pro are in different situations than Zach Von Rosenberg. So I think he wants to stick around. We'll see about that. I think he's not going to look at one less year in the NFL as a big thing. And not to mention a lot of good kickers, they look outstanding and they still don't get a shot. Look at who's that kicker they had before York? The guy who made the kick against Auburn. I'm blanking on his name, man, and it's going to kill.
David.
Cole Tracy.
Oh, Colt Tracy.
Colt David, Mike.
I'm going back to your days.
Oh man, my days. I was 10 years old. No, I don't know how old I was.
On a positive note, it seemed like there was more want to quote Les Miles. Absolutely, I agree with Kenneth.
Yes. I mean,
even I was over my don't care attitude. Enjoyed having LSU football to watch today. Man, I tell you what, Kenny brings up a good point. It's having run TigerBait.com now, which we had an anniversary last week, and I wasn't even paying attention. I went over to our LinkedIn. My LinkedIn, I go over there about once a month and make sure I didn't get an email or anything. And I had an anniversary for TigerBait, and I'm like, I had a bunch of notifications. Like, what's going on? Well, I had the 24th year of TigerBait.
wow.
So next year's 25.
That's about as old as me.
And so one thing I can tell you after years of running a website and message boards, looking at site traffic, reading the comments or lack of comments, traffic on our Facebook page, is that it really, this win today was much needed, because I think the LSU fan base, for the most part, have checked out. I'm looking at, and look, I look at what is out there as far as, on YouTube channels of radio stations, and I'm looking at their views and what's being gotten out there. I think LSU fans had absolutely, and look, there's some losses coming, but this has not been by any stretch close to what the standards of LSU, like Kenny says in his comment, and it's but I will say, like I said in my chat the other night, people want to see fight. They want to see grit. They want to see guys caring about it, getting in other guys' faces if they don't think they're putting out best effort. You want to see newcomers that you're excited about. Boy, wait till that guy has another spring and another off season in the weight room. I mean, that's kind of things that you want to get excited about, which I referenced Will Wade's first year at LSU with the basketball team.
Yeah.
There were some losses there, but also some wins you didn't think you were going to get. And you were excited about, boy, you liked the style of play. You knew the recruiting class that was coming. And I think that's what LSU fans want the rest of the way, knowing what this year is, the max it can be. They want things to hang their hat on.
So I think ultimately fans want a product, win or lose, that they can be proud of. If your players are pouting on the field and laughing when they're getting their butts kicked and not putting in great effort, you're not really proud to watch that. I mean, it really doesn't bring pride or anything to you. So you want to see some really good effort. And today, I think we saw better effort.
Look, I don't want to name any names because I don't want to go that route. But let's just say, hypothetically, you're the father of a guy who's a top-round draft pick on this LSU football team, and had they went and lost today by double digits, what would be your opt-out attitude? Particularly, let's say they were in a position that's more of higher risk of injury than some others.
I don't know. I mean, I have an interesting take on that because I've been noticing guys who opt out, it's hurting their draft stock. Jamar Chase, his draft stock is starting to get hurt. Guys are starting to pass it up.
It might be, because guys are seeing guys.
I get it.
Become draft time. He's going to be where
if it's my father or my son out there, look, you can declare for your junior season, that's fine. I do think opt-outs are hurting draft stock because scouts are starting to look at it. A player who opts out to preserve himself in college is the same kind of player who's going to opt out for a contract.
I hate the opt-out. But this is a different year because of COVID.
Yeah, it is. And maybe you're right about this year.
Yeah, but because I'm against opt-outs in normal years. But in a year like this one, I can see it. Because, like Arkansas today, missing a half a dozen defensive linemen.
It happens. I mean, I think this is an interesting year, and maybe guys get passes like they don't ever before, but we'll see. I had a good comment on YouTube here from Cam Rogers. You mentioned Kerry Vincent Jr. He was a good player, but not a high draft pick to me. Why do you think players who are not first or second round picks are so likely to go? I can tell you the NFLF shoe thing that's been branded over the last few years when they were winning 8 games, but they still had a bunch of players, more players in the NFL than anybody else. That's caused a lot of players who are naturally prone to that, but it's a cultural thing. I think for a while, after 2018, you didn't see a bunch of players doing that, and we saw the results. So Coach O was fighting against that. But last year, between COVID and between everybody's stock being at an all-time high and wanting to cash in, I think Coach O kind of lost control of it because there was just so little you could do about it. I mean, even guys like Kerry Vincent was going to stay, and then COVID.
I think Kerry Vincent might have had some regrets because, it was this time last year. It was really, about this time last year we were getting rumblings that he was thinking about going early, and they had to talk him out of it. And then I think maybe he regretted not striking while the iron was hotter than he thought it was.
If he's not watching this game and regretting it, thinking about how much money he could be making, being like the star on this defense, right? They could scoot him out to safety, and he would be pretty good.
His problem is he has speed. His problem is size.
Yeah, it has always been size. Yeah, I agree with you on that. And so many plays where he was just like an inch away from the ball. At the end of last season, he started making up for that inch or two and making the play.
Daniel Sayuk says, I think LSU will be dangerous and motivated next season. I think LSU is 2 years away from being a legit spot at a legit team at fighting for the SEC West title. I could be wrong. The upshot for LSU next year is, you get Auburn, Florida, and Texas A&M at home.
That's right.
So that can help you if you can arrive earlier than you expect. And then you get Jaquelin Roy and get, I wanted to go look at player participation. I didn't see him today. Did you see Guillory?
Yes, I did not see Jacobian Guillory. I did see Jaquelin Roy.
Mason Smith, you're going to have upwards of 10 guys at midterm enroll. I think, there's some guys there on the defensive side of the ball that can help immediately. It's always tough sledding when you want to talk about, no matter how good your offensive line haul might be for this 21 class, you don't ever want to think that, it's a tough to even project one guy can come in and start as a true freshman. But boy, you sure would like a couple of them to be legit guys that you can hang your hat on for 2 or 3 years in the future.
For sure. And let me tell you this. As for a lot of people have been asking, is this season going to hurt recruiting? Is it going to hurt recruiting?
It hasn't yet.
It hasn't yet, but I'm going to tell you this. You lose to Arkansas and you finish this season 2-8 and you look lifeless. I mean, guys that come to mind like Tristan Lee. Tristan Lee, I spoke with him. He grew up a huge Virginia football fan. I'm not talking like, he liked the team because they were local. No, he was a Virginia fan.
I talked to an Ohio State source the other day who his gut tells him he thinks Oklahoma is the leader.
Well, Oklahoma might be because he's close with Caleb Williams, who, of course, was an LSU target, but he's also close with a lot of LSU guys.
But that's also to where the USA Today story, the losses, which is why this win is pivotal, and then playing hard the rest of the way, expired effort, giving some teams that scares possibly.
Yeah.
Like, boy, you didn't expect LSU to keep it that close, or they had a chance.
Yeah.
You want to be able to say those things after some of these games where you think LSU is going to be a lopsided underdog.
Yeah.
But it's, my whole thing when I said it the other night was they needed positive news. And so if you get a win today, maybe you get a surprise commitment that a guy who says, I'm ready to end it. Maybe a Brian Thomas says, I'm done. I'm ready to announce my decision. Those are the kind of things that can snowball. I mean, heck, we're a month away from the first signing period, so I think we're going to have a lot of stuff that's going to be happening here real soon.
Let me tell you, if you go 2-8, 2-6, something abysmal like that, the perception of your program is going to be really dragged through the mud. So guys like Tristan Lee, who literally wrote off his dream school because they weren't good enough.
And look, he gets a lot of publicity. The other guy that we talk about in this recruiting class for LSU, Savion Byrd from Duncanville, Texas, go look at his film.
Yeah.
I love that kid. He's not carrying bad weight. Something he could play guard or center. Moves well, can run. Go watch Savion Byrd's film. You can have guys that are rated higher on the national level, and then a guy like Savion Byrd might be the guy who can come in and play faster than any of them.
Yeah, and look, check this out. Trenton Eubanks comment, LSU recruits now have two ways to look at it. A, I don't want to be a part of that dumpster fire. B, playing time and opportunities to rebuild. That's the sweet spot you got to look at as Ogeron. You got to sell it as, There are opportunities for you to come in. Tristan Lay, you might be our starting right tackle next season. Come on. But at the same time, he could do that at schools like Virginia. He could do that at tons of schools. He wants to go to an elite program. You have to keep the perception going that this team is a year or two away from just getting back to elite, and this is just a one-year hiccup because of COVID.
I talked to someone this morning who thinks that that you might see some staff movement after the season. That more than just that maybe you might see a couple of guys, end up doing something else. And I'm not talking about Pelini or anybody getting canned. I think some things there could be some movement. So it's going to be a pivotal off season, absolutely. And hopefully, COVID, we got a solution and get things back to normal in the spring.
Let me tell you what you're looking for this LSU team down the stretch, okay? You got Florida, Alabama, and, oh goodness, I'm slipping on the last, Ole Miss, of course, but then I'm trying to think who's the last team in the top 10 they play. Alabama, Florida. Anyway, so regardless, someone correct me on the fourth team they play, who's in the top 6, of course. But you play those games, okay? You're sitting here at 3-3. Okay, well, Ole Miss is the one you pop out. That's a winnable game, although that will be tough because Ole Miss is good this year. You got to beat Ole Miss, and then if you can sneak away with one of those wins, you find a way to keep your winning season streak alive. That's a huge deal because you're not going to have to use these asterisks every full season since so-and-so. You're going to be able to say they've had a winning season since 1999. That's a big deal. So that's what LSU really needs to be fighting for. And it sucks because, they're doing it basically with, last year's third string or worse.
Mike Douillon, and I'm saying Douillon because I lived in Lafayette for a number of years. Or do you say Duhan? USA Today's story could be written by any university. The writers are looking for a Pulitzer. It's a sad situation. Look, I like to get after the media, and there's 3 names on that story, and the lady Nancy, who I keep getting after, she's been a piece of work on Twitter for a while. The one I'm talking about, Nancy. What's her last name?
I don't know her last name off the top of my head.
Yeah, she's.
I've given her a hard time myself a few times.
Yeah, like I said, if she was at a Christmas party and I had 3 or 4 Tito's and 7s with a lime, knowing the way I like to tell jokes, I'm gonna be on the opposite corner of the room or wherever she's at. Because I don't need to get any woke lawsuits coming my way. She's got to be a real barrel of monkeys to hang out with.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot there, but we're going to hear a lot more. But
that doesn't,
unfold.
Knowing what I know about her and seeing her act on Twitter doesn't mean that there's not real issues with that story, because there is. And there's a lot of people that believe there's a couple of people whose heads are on the chopping block and that are in real danger. Something that one person is in the right place where they need to be. I don't know. I'm not going to say that anybody's going to get scapegoated, but it's not a good look, and it's and because of the type of story that it is, you just can't get away with saying we're going to do an internal investigation.
Right.
And we'll give you our findings. A year from now.
Exactly.
This is going to be something that's. I don't think this is going away, and those people on a national scale are going to demand that you have something going forward, a plan that addresses this, so it never happens again. And I don't think I think there's no way you're going to get away with somebody not losing a job.
Yeah, I agree with you. By the way, that last team that I forgot about was Texas A&M, it's almost like really they're in the top 5, but yeah, they're a top 5 team. They're sitting there with 1 loss. That's
what I was saying earlier. They're look, they had big designs early in the year because they liked the way they're scheduled. They didn't have Clemson. They thought this was the year. I wasn't buying it. I don't buy A&M like I don't buy Georgia any particular year. And of course, when went to an all-SEC schedule, and they're like, it's, what they thought could be their year got really bad. And but now they're still sitting there with just the one loss, and we'll see how it plays out for them.
By the way,
I'm still not real high on Kellen Mond, but it's also a school that's got a good number of upperclassmen, and it's helping them.
That game's next week, by the way, at Texas A&M. So
Right.
that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and after LSU laid the wood to them last year.
They're going to be motivated, but everybody's motivated to play LSU. That's part of the problem is everybody except for Missouri they played this year, LSU whooped up on last year. Everyone's motivated, but Texas A&M and Bama, those are going to be the two probably with the most motivation. Florida, they lost last year, but like they felt like it was an admirable game. Those two, probably not so much. So let me tell you your best case scenario in terms of wins and losses. You can debate me if it's actually best for the program here. Somehow pull an upset at Texas A&M. I don't care what you say. That's a winnable game. That is a winnable game. You just have to play lights out, keep players safe because you don't have depth.
Turnover free. You got to do everything.
You got to
right.
play very well. I don't think you have to play a perfect game.
And then we're assuming Stingley's a concussion. So what's going to be the protocol on that?
Yeah, Stingley's got to play. I mean, you got to get all the things got to roll right for you, but that's a winnable game.
Yeah, but what is the timetable on a concussion?
It depends on what kind of concussion.
I mean,
it depends. I mean, it's all over the place.
Those are graded.
Yeah, I personally, on a concussion this season, if he had a concussion at all, I'd have him done for the year. That's
yeah,
me.
I mean, and even then, what does his dad have a say in it?
Yeah, well,
regardless of
sure.
how it's graded.
But look, assuming he's fine and it's not a concussion, yeah, get him to play. Can you pull off an upset at Texas A&M? Because if you do that, then you have to play lights out and beat Ole Miss. Another winnable game, although LSU will probably not be favored to win. And then you get Florida, and Bama's not on the schedule. If somehow you can find a way where you don't play Bama, because look, I don't think there's a chance in hell they beat Alabama this year. I just don't. I think Bama beats them by about 70 points.
I don't see anybody beating Alabama. I think
they look real good.
John L. Taylor's got a great comment. Hey guys, just got on. I'm going to watch the DVR, but I want to see how our boys played in all phases of the game. We got a little giddy dance going. Let's keep building. Still finishing up work here at work. Go Tigers! And I don't think it was a piece of art that you're going to be watching, John L. when you get home to watch your DVR. But I think everybody went into this, no matter how ugly it was, or however you got it. This was like a Les Miles football game.
It was. Hey, a dub's a dub, though.
This year, a must have.
Even playing a game is a good thing for LSU.
This was very reminiscent of the Les Miles game today.
It was, but it should be because that's what teams.
And that's what LSU's going to need to do. Honestly, the rest of the way, they got to win the way Les Miles used to.
Yeah. So look, but what I'm telling you though is if you can get 2 wins against Ole Miss and Texas A&M, you're actually finishing this season 5-4. Do you know what that would do for perception of this program going 5-4 this year? Do you know? I mean, that would be tremendously better than just, falling off the face of the earth.
Cameron Rogers, do you think LSU could have been better with the cupcakes on the schedule? Meaning, had the schedule not changed in the September, the way it stacked up would have been the same. Well, I think it could have helped had it not been a COVID year and you didn't have the opt-outs and you didn't have Neil Farrell taking a month off. Shelvin stayed, Kerry Vincent stayed, Jamar Chase stayed. I think that could have helped.
Let me ask you this.
And then look, and then you also have the suspension problems that LSU still has every year. I'm absolutely sick of it. I don't want to act like I'm the biggest weed head and act like marijuana, it shouldn't be a thing and there should be no repercussion. It's still an illegal substance in Louisiana. But no players in the SEC get suspended in any other school but LSU. And they miss games. I don't know what you can do to make up for it, but some of the players that miss multiple games, like one that just got reinstated, you would never hear about that at the University of Alabama, and it's enough already.
I think that goes not necessarily the players themselves.
I mean, it's every year. But
I think a bit of that is the back office being a little more strict at LSU.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. But LSU's policy is different than everywhere else.
Exactly. It's a little more uptight. So let me ask you this. Let's pose this just for fun. We've seen a lot of this team this year. COVID never happens. What's this team do normally? without COVID hitting them.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been. It still could have been the same situation. Only, of course, I haven't seen what is UT San Antonio's record. I'm trying to, would
No, they would have been UTSA.
Yeah, I mean,
come on now.
But I mean, you're looking at some of those games. Rice, I suspect LSU should win those, but
3-1 out of conference because Texas might have beaten LSU. Probably with the team we're seeing, definitely would have.
Texas would have beat LSU.
Now I don't know about pre-COVID. Yeah, and another thing I'm throwing in there. Let's just assume a healthy Miles Brennan because that's not COVID, but I mean that's
of course,
a major
now
blow.
we're wondering now is Herman going to get fired?
Yeah, well
they've had enough of him.
I think any other year
now it's like
it's for sure thing.
It's the Hugh Freeze and sweepstakes right now.
Although Hugh Freeze said today he'd be fine staying at Liberty for a while, but
of course the raging Cajuns are getting nervous about their coach.
I think if COVID never happens and you have a healthy Brendan, we're still looking at an 8-4, 9-3 team at best, even with those 3 fluffers. I don't think that this was ever going to be a championship caliber team. I think that Bo Pelini was going to be a problem even with a healthy team. Losing all those players to the NFL was going to be a problem. It just is what it is, y'all.
Trenton Eubanks, Ole Miss will be a hard win to come by. Kiffin's offense is all over the place. He makes adjustments, and they are lit, no doubt. And with LSU's defensive back problems, he says the defense could get ugly. They put up over 30 last year with our national championship D. I agree. Look, I think if Arkansas has those 6 defensive linemen available today, I don't think LSU wins this football game.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right about that. I think that's one of the saving graces for LSU down the stretches. You never know when a team might lose half their team to COVID.
So I went into this game saying this morning, all week long, I didn't think LSU was going to win another football game.
By the way, I think it's about that time. We're going to go ahead and give our last call for comments here.
No doubt. I need to get something to eat.
Yeah. Wifey took care of me today. I'm good. But last call for comments. Get them in. We'll promise to get to every comment here in the next 2 or 3 minutes, and then we're going to give it a wrap. Do you want to go ahead and thank maybe Kenneth Haynes real quick for tonight's
no doubt.
show?
Thanks to Kenneth P. Haynes, attorney at law, sponsoring us every week. Your full-service attorney up in Shreveport. Give him a call, 318-222-2100, personal injury, divorce. He's your guy. And without a doubt, one of the best posters on our TigerBait Tiger Den premium message board. And like I said, we want to have you guys as a subscriber chatting with us on our Tiger Den premium message board. Go to TigerBait, subscribe for $1. Look at our gift cards for Christmas gifts. And it looks like I think we got everything. Daniel, UK, appreciate you guys. I try to never miss y'all live, and we appreciate that, Daniel. Y'all please do us a favor, like and share this for us. It means a lot to us. It helps the algorithm, and it helps it get bumped up into the video feed on Facebook. I'm always amazed by what videos end up I get notifications for.
Well, you can hit the bell on the page. Right. Another thing you can do, guys, Facebook now has a favorites tab, meaning you can feed your feed to favorites. Just go to our page and add us as one of your favorites. And you can go and check us out anytime by just hitting the favorites tab. Facebook's a little weird at who they pick to give you a notification. So hit that bell, make us a favorites page, and you'll never miss anything good we do. We do, 2 or 3 shows a week. We put out some real good content. Y'all go take care of that. I have one comment here, although it's a little tongue-in-cheek. Trenton Eubanks, did I hear you say you were mailing me one of those 2 paintings for free? Trenton, I dropped a link in there to where you can go check it out and get it at a great deal, the bundle for both of them for a Tiger fan you appreciate. There is a contest he's doing to win, actually, these literal paintings I'm having here. There's a contest to win them.
I think you posted that if you scroll down, isn't that in the feed on TigerBait's Facebook?
Well, we're going to get a link on the front page soon enough. Yeah, we're going to push that on our site. We're going to have a lot more details. But yeah, if you go to my last live show, there's a link for the contest itself, and there's one on the page itself by itself. So go check it out. Contest, you can win them for free. If you really want it, there's a few ways to get extra entries. I would absolutely recommend trying to enter this for free because this is some really cool artwork. and it's for free. I mean, you're not going to lose anything by getting a try to win it. And these are the big top of the line premium ones you can get. So definitely enter that contest for free. Let's see. It was worth a shot. Thanks, guys. Look, man, it was worth a shot.
Yeah.
I gave you your opportunity. Go enter the contest. There you go, man.
All right, Kenneth Haynes. Good show tonight, guys. Proud to be associated with TigerBait, and we're glad to have Kenny as a part of TigerBait. He's been with me from the early days, and super guy, and one of the best attorneys that you'll run across, and highly recommended in North Louisiana. So that's it for us on TigerBait.com. We went up almost a full hour, and I'll be back here with my midweek show later in the week. Lots of recruiting stuff. I got 2 good things coming either tomorrow or Monday. I'm going to post one of them tomorrow. I know there's one piece of that a lot of you guys that follow us recruiting are going to want to read. It's going to be a premium. And by the way, go look at the Le'Veon Moss interview I did Thursday night, 2022 running back from Estruma. Watch his clips. I'm telling you, this state for next year, between him and Trevor Achan at Jennings, 2 great running backs in Louisiana for next year. And after what I saw of Le'Veon Moss, granted it was against Broadmoor Thursday night, he's moving up my rankings. And I think Trevor Achan, look, I got people in Jennings that I know from college that live out there and go to every Jennings game, and they all swear that they think Trevor's going to be better than Travis.
He's not
He's
bad.
a different. He's not the speed guy of Travis,
good.
but he is a 215-pound bruiser. And look out if he gets a mean streak, which I think is going to come as he gets older. Great student, great kid, and I think LSU leads for him. So as of now, we'll see. Clem's going to have something to say about it, but I think the running back group for next year, go look at that on TigerBait's front page. That we'll call it a night. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see y'all next week here on TigerBait.com.